Good day, everyone. We are very happy to present our joint paper titled An Empirical Study of the Predictors of Green Purchase Behavior. First of all, we would like to thank the organizing committee for their prompt response and constant support, and also for giving us the opportunity to present our paper at the 8th International Conference on Management Studies. My name is Supriyanka Govekar, and I'm an assistant professor at VM Salgaonkar Institute of International Hospitality Education in Goa, India, and I'm the co-author of this research paper. Dr. Semele Sardesai is an assistant professor at MES College of Arts and Commerce, Goa, India, and she is the first author of the paper. As we have all witnessed that the world has progressed drastically, but unfortunately at the cost of our environment, and thus the green consumer buying behavior has become the need of the hour due to this rapid degradation of our environment. Now, the statistics of Indian textile and apparel market shows that the market was estimated at $75 billion last year, and it is also projected to grow annually at the rate of 22.3% by 2023. Also, a significant change has been observed in the Indian apparel industry, leading to introduction of organic clothing line to cater to the emerging ecologically conscious consumers. The government as well as the apparel manufacturers are seen taking initiatives to reduce the negative impacts on the environment, and hence the environmentally friendly apparel market is on the rise in India. Research on green consumers in India is still in the earlier stages of development, and there is still a lack of focus on particular green product categories. Hence, a study on specific product category such as green apparel is need of an hour. Since the customer attention towards sustainability in clothing is on rise, research indicates that personal norms with respect to green purchase behavior must be studied, because norms get triggered when individuals feel significantly responsible for the consequences of their actions. Also, existing literature indicates that there is a lack of application of the value attitude behavior theory in the context of green buying behavior, and hence needs to be further explored. It has been observed based on literature review that past studies did not examine the role of peer influence with respect to specific green product category, and indicated that peers were only able to persuade and influence, and hence the impact of peer influence on green purchase behavior needs to be studied. From literature, we have also found that there exists a gap between the consumer's attitude and their actual purchase behavior. Therefore, it is vital to find out if attitude influences green purchase behavior. Also, literature states that the green product will only be successful if consumers perceive the green products to be superior as compared to conventional products. The first objective is to study the impact of personal norm on green purchase behavior. The second objective is to study the impact of peer influence on green purchase behavior. The third objective is to study the impact of perceived benefit on green purchase behavior. The fourth objective is to study if attitude mediates the relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior.
Thank you, Supriyanka. Our research questions and hypotheses are in line with our objectives. You can observe our proposed model in the figure along with the hypothesis. Hypothesis 1 states that personal norm has a positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. Hypothesis 2 states that peer influence has a positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. Hypothesis 3 states that perceived benefits have a positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. And hypothesis 4 states that attitude mediates the relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior. Next, I will explain the methodology of the study. The measurement scales were adopted from existing validated scales. For green purchase behavior, a scale of 4 items was adopted from Jog and Singhal 2020. For the personal norm, a scale of 6 items was adopted from Pickett-Baker and Ozaki 2008. For peer influence, a scale of 5 items was adopted from Carr 2018. For perceived benefits, a scale of 6 items was adopted from Lee et al. 2015. For attitude, a scale of 2 items was adopted from Nguyen et al. 2019. Coming to the data collection tool, a questionnaire with 6 sections was designed for the study. All the scales were formulated based on a 5-point Likert scale, with strongly disagree being 5 to strongly agree being 1. Section 1 collected socio-demographic details. Section 2 contained questions to measure the attitude of respondents. Section 3 measured personal norm. Section 4 measured peer influence. Section 5 measured perceived benefits. And Section 6 measured the green purchase behavior. Next, the unit of analysis was a resident of Goa. The sampling method used was convenience sampling. The sample size was 146 respondents. It was found that 50.7% of the sample were males, and majority, that is 80.82% of the sample, were in the age group of 18 to 30 years. Data was collected during the period of February 2022 to March 2022. The data analysis procedure was as follows. First, the data was checked to see that there was no missing data, and next it was checked for normality by doing the skewness and kurtosis test using SPSS, and all values were found to be between plus and minus 2, hence the data was normal and was ready for analysis. Next, the confirmatory factor analysis was performed for each of the 5 constructs using IBM SPSS Amos version 22. This was followed by the validation of the measurement model using SPSS version 22 and Amos version 22. And finally, testing of the hypothesis was done using structured equation modeling with Amos version 22. The validation of all the 5 constructs was done using standard statistical methods, and construct validity was obtained. Table 1 shows the results of all the confirmatory factor analysis performed to validate each of the 5 constructs. The measurement model was validated using standard statistical methods, and the results can be seen in Table 2, Table 3 and Table 4. This is the structural model that was used to test hypothesis 1, 2 and 3. It can be observed from the table that the relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior is positive and significant at a 1% level of significance. It can also be observed that the relationship between peer influence and green purchase behavior is positive and significant at a 1% level of significance. Perceived benefits and green purchase behavior is positive and significant at a 5% level of significance. Thus, it can be concluded that hypothesis 1, 2 and 3 are supported. According to Hayes 2018, for mediation to occur, initially there has to be a significant relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior. Secondly, after introduction of the mediating variable attitude, the indirect relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior has to be significant. It can be observed from the table that these criteria have been fulfilled. There is initially a positive and significant relationship with strength of 0.532 between personal norm and green purchase behavior without the mediating variable, and the indirect relationship of 0.049 between personal norm and green purchase behavior is significant at a 5% level of significance. Hence, attitude mediates the relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior, and hence Hypothesis 4 is supported.
Based on the gap identified that norms get triggered when individuals feel significantly responsible for the consequences of their actions, the findings of past studies found that personal norms showed positive influence on green purchase behavior. And the findings of our study also supports the findings of the earlier researchers. The second gap identified states that the role of peer influence with respect to specific green category was not examined, and that peers were only able to influence and persuade others to recognize the deterioration of environmental problems. Also, the previous researchers did not study the impact of peer influence on green purchase behavior, based on which the findings of previous studies revealed that seeking conformance from peers was not considered essential. Our findings differed from earlier studies indicating that peer influence had positive and significant impact on green apparel purchase behavior. The third gap identified stated that green products can only be successful if the consumers perceive them to be superior as compared to other conventional products. The past researchers found that benefits of green apparel influenced purchase of green apparel, and our result also confirmed that perceived benefits has positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. The fourth gap highlighted that there is a gap between consumers' attitude towards sustainable consumption and the actual purchase behavior. The findings from previous research studies found that attitude mediates between the values and behavior, which was explained with the help of value attitude behavior hierarchy theory. The findings of our study also revealed that attitude mediates the relationship between the personal norms and green purchase behavior.
The results of this study showed that personal norm has a positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. This means that based on the values inculcated in their formative years, consumers set norms for themselves to do the correct things in society. Hence, policymakers should take great care while designing the syllabus of primary school children so as to inculcate in them a sense of responsibility towards the environment so that they set personal norms for themselves and exhibit green purchase behavior. The next finding was that peer influence has a positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. In the Indian context, the youth comprise of a large segment that are conscious about latest fashion and styles. Environmentally friendly products may be promoted by the apparel companies to spread awareness and educate the youth about the benefits and positive impacts of these products on the environment to encourage purchase of organic or green apparels. This youth could then influence their peers to do the same. The next finding of this study is that perceived benefit has a positive and significant impact on green purchase behavior. Thus, it can be inferred that the display at the fair trade clothing stores should not only be attractive but also informative, stressing on its benefits so that the consumer feels that he or she has made a good purchase. The last finding of this study is that attitude towards green apparel mediates the relationship between personal norm and green purchase behavior. This finding implies that it is vital for social institutions and the governmental bodies to encourage pro-environmental attitude and create awareness through consumer exposure to green products, recycling behavior, protecting environmental scarce resources to promote green consumption behavior.
Some suggestions for future research include collecting responses from all the states of India to obtain better generalized results. An extension of this research study focusing on other unexplored or under-researched variables can be undertaken for the purpose of broader perspective. A meta-analysis of different predictors of green purchase behavior may be undertaken for comprehensive assessment. Also, influence of emotions on green purchase behavior could be an interesting future study. Other notable suggestions include devising strategies to bridge the gap between the attitude and the actual green purchase behavior. Based on the literature review, we have observed that the value attitude behavior theory's application is still limited and has a great scope of its application extension to other green products. The future researchers are also encouraged to explore the causal influences among the variables of green purchase behavior. This brings us to the end of our presentation, and we would like to sincerely thank you for your kind attention.